Okay, and then we're going to do hit record. Well, let's see. Let's go ahead and hit record. Let's load it up. Okay, and am I centered in this? See, so my video should be on. Okay, so let's hit record, and it should be recording. Oh no, let's do this. Let's see. Oh, let's go back to Zoom. Where are we on the Zoom? Okay. Okay, now it's in progress. Okay, so it's not asking me any questions about I consent to be in this meeting. Check this box. Okay, so I should be live streaming. What do you think, Alan?
Yes.
Okay, okay, Alan agrees. So thank you very much. And hopefully that movie we just put together is downloading while we're doing this. Okay, thank you very much. Have a good day. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that was Ira, a very good person that helped me put together my short capsulation of my trip in Moscow. And welcome to Intervision FM. Subscribe, people, subscribe to the show. And thank you for joining us here on Intervision FM. Also, go to paypal.me/IntervisionDenver and show your support. And our sponsors are Christian Brothers, the Denver Foundation, Dr. Richard Damiano, Wells Fargo, and Redline Community Center, which we're going to be picking up that check next week.
That's awesome. If you want to become a sponsor, hit us up at info@intervisionfm.com, and in the subject line, that's our email. Just tell us a little bit about your business, a little bit about yourself, and we'll see if we can partner together and work together in the future. We help grassroots musicians, and whether they're disabled or financially challenged, we try to get them exposure, some notoriety. In addition, we've got a bunch of other DJs that have consented to go ahead and broadcast. So we're 24/7 at Intervision FM. And so check out some of our shows. Alfonso the Clone, Robert Randall, His Holiness, dealing with...
yeah.
Go ahead.
And I forgot, I keep it again, the guy on Thursdays from 4 to...
well, that's Aaron's opinion.
Aaron's opinion, okay.
Yeah, so we got Aaron's opinion. He's on Facebook as well. What else we got? We got story time from 7 days a week for an hour a day. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So we got quite a bit of stuff going on. If you want to be part of it, just hit us up.
And did we say Sailor?
No. We just brought on a guy by the name of Sailor and his partner. They do 3 hours of music Monday through Thursday during the evening Mountain Standard Time of 5 to 8 p.m.
Yes, and it says 9:01, so we're right on track.
All right, where do you want to start today? Yeah, we didn't get to some of the nuclear lingerie and some of the things like that, so we'll kind of pick a little bit up where we left off and give you some more. You talked about Moscow, and you left. Go ahead.
I'm going to try to upload that video for Monday because on Monday we'll be traveling, so we won't be able to do the show. So I'm going to try to upload that for the 9 o'clock hour Monday. It's 32 minutes, perfect. So
Awesome.
I sort of like filmed this like in the backyard. It's like my wife has this beautiful like nice country, nice backyard house, and did a lot of landscaping. And so some years we have apples, some years we have pears, some years we have raspberry, but this year we had cherries.
Amazing.
And it's just fresh cherry, just grabbing them off the ground, shaking them from the tree. And I wish I could have just got like a whole box of it and just brought it back.
That would have been awesome. That would have been awesome. In a
Oh man.
that's where trade would come in, and free trade would be, king, or whatever you want to call it, where, we could do that kind of thing, take stuff from our property in one country and move it to another, like cherries and peaches and pears.
So yeah, I'm going to show and then we got into this. They have these electrical trains that are like it's bullet trains, and they go fast, totally silent.
Amazing.
It's not like the and all that stuff and nothing. You hear nothing. And I said, and my wife said, the train is coming. I said, I don't hear it, but you look at the video and you see the train coming up and totally silent.
How do the blind navigate that? We'll have to.
They have stuff on the ground. And my wife was talking about they have stuff on the ground, so just so you can feel for the blind person, so you don't be standing in front of the track, and then next thing, they dispose of another blind person.
That gives a new meaning to catching a train. Let me tell you what.
Oh man, but it was fantastic. My wife, she had the faith, and she got us in and out of Moscow safely, and we had a fantastic time visiting. Granddaughter had a little 2-year-old birthday party, and my step grandson and all that kind of stuff, and it was just fantastic. So shout out to the people of Moscow. We're dealing with the government. The people of Moscow are fantastic. Stop stereotyping them. They're not a bunch of gangsters and all that kind of stuff. There's actual families just making a living, raising their children, grandkids, and living life. So
I think that's what unites us all as people. Is we're just people. Doesn't really matter what country we hail from, but it does matter the ideals that we have, and that's one thing that unites us. We are all part of the human race. Brittney Griner didn't fare so well as far as getting in and out of Russia. Looks like what have you heard from some folks there about that kind of thing?
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but they're going to use her as a political pawn, and because she knows basketball, but she doesn't know too many politics, and she went into a perfect storm, and she wasn't paying attention to the news that was going on at the time. She was just there to make some money, and thought that business as usual. I've carried this. She probably thought she carried this in before. Nothing happened, and she could do it again because hey, she's a big star. But now she fell right into that trap. And Dr. Boyce Watkins, said that he bets that she's going to be out before Christmas time because she fits into the Biden regime. Not stereotype. Whatever they're propping up, the lesbian, black, athlete kind of thing. So she fits into their agenda. So he says, they said before, but I hate the fact that they're going to give back this guy that was really given arms to kill Americans and kill everybody else. And he was selling that, and he had an 11-year sentence. And the thing about trading her for him, I said, get a lower person the trade for her.
There's a teacher that went out there and had a similar thing happen. Not really sure what the story is around that, but it's interesting. I guess it's best to just research up on whatever laws you can get your hands on for the country that you're going into.
Oh,
certainly break any laws and get run afoul of certain things. And that holds true whether you're in the country or outside the country. I mean, there are certain places where I wouldn't want to go to jail here in the United States, for instance.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
Like we have a bunch of political people in jail now in our Washington jail system that is without due process. They've just been held without and then being told to tell a lie in order to get a misdemeanor or get less of a sentence, or even they got more because they were just either walking through, or they videotaped, or they were pushed by the crowd that going, and then the one Fed saying go into the Capitol, Ray something, I forgot his name, not Epstein, I don't know, I forgot, Epstein something, I forgot his name, but just a lot of set up, and it just tells me, I watch a lot of TV, so you could just tell a setup when it's a setup, and anyway, you'll see it Monday. You'll see real people. I should have got out my guitar. My son-in-law left his guitar there, and so Al helped me find a tuner thing to tune it up, and it was in tune, but I couldn't hold the camera and play my guitar at the same time, and I didn't bring my camera stand.
a little rough. Yeah. Even those are, not as portable as you'd like, even though they're pretty portable these days. It's interesting. I wanted to get back a little bit to, what I was explaining yesterday is, there are certain things. The Department of Homeland Security has decided, in their wisdom, that we got to be careful of and we got to watch for, and just kind of, not to be cryptic, but it's interesting that in a free country, a free society, we are not as free as what we had been led to believe just 40 years ago. These kinds of things would never have even been talked about, much less tolerated. And now we are reaping the benefits of remaining asleep for too long. So, I do hope that people do wake up to this thing and make those in power understand peaceably that we are the people, and we, at least in the United States, have to actually consent to be governed the way that is being proposed. And so, the 87,000 IRS agents, allegedly doing whatever it is they're wanting to get done. We as American people just want to have a hand in that, and we want to make sure that things aren't abused or this kind of thing. And it is somewhat disconcerting to see the very trappings of what made America come under fire.
And they're recruiting now on college campuses, and they said, one of the guys said, they don't look too confident in holding fire, learning how to use firearms. So you got these liberals who are being turned out by the colleges. We told you that guns are bad. We want to get rid of like Ryoki, whatever his name says. We're coming after your guns, right? So it's almost like a catch-22, hypocritical, saying, well, okay, we're coming after our guns, but we want the government to have the guns and not the people. Venezuela 2.0.
Absolutely.
Man.
The best way to get involved is kind of like what you're doing, by getting involved at the local level. In whatever capacity that we can. That's where it all starts. That's how the beginning of the political process is. It starts with the communities, and so you started running for House District number 5. And consequently, on August 20th, we're looking at a release of a movie called,
Connection.
yeah, if you go to
Connect.
code.com, you'll get information on what allegedly has taken place over the last couple of years. In fact, that very thing that we're being encouraged very strongly not to talk about by this alphabet agency. So, it's interesting how things are being played out. It's an interesting time, and it's no longer entertainment. We have to get involved at the local level in any way we can. So
Yeah.
I got my hat off to you. I just help you and support you in any way that I can, because you're House District 5 in Denver, right?
Right. And we're getting poll watchers together, judges. That's a paid position to be like a judge at the event. And so it's really was working like from 8, I guess from it starts off from like I guess maybe like from 7 to 7, or no 7 to 5, and then it goes on the actual day from 7 to 7. So but you're getting paid for those hours. It's $18 an hour. So become a judge for the election, and it's a paid position. Now, in some places, poll watchers are not paid, and in some places, poll watchers are paid. So it just depends on what county and what the rules are. And I was just listening to a lady this morning on Kim Munson show in the second hour, and she was saying, see if you're a candidate, or if you see if you can get your sheriff department involved with being there. So if any shenanigans happen, they can cuff them and take them out. And I'm talking about shenanigans with people saying, no, we don't, we don't want you to verify the names and signatures and all that kind of stuff, and we want you to stand 6 feet back from there and all that kind of shenanigans. So get the local sheriff's department not to intimidate the voters, but to make sure that the law of the land is obeyed, and it's no shenanigans on November the 8th.
That's right. And some would believe that the way to go is to find out whether the sheriff in your area happens to be a constitutional sheriff, whether the person is constitutionally minded, truly about that oath of office that is taken, where they're sworn to uphold the United States Constitution against, any enemies, foreign or domestic. So that's where we got there. And you move on to the state level and at the federal level until finally, hopefully, positive change can be made. This is America, and we want to keep it America. And the only way to do that is to be as involved as possible peaceably, and make sure that this is no longer a spectator sport where we just elect the folks and hope for the best.
Oh, also, it's not on our agenda, but there's a song out by C.B. Wonder before he became so liberal and taking the knee and all that kind of stuff. He wrote back in '72 called "You Haven't Done Nothing Yet." Jackson 5 did the background for it, and basically, it's what politicians have been doing up until Trump got in there, and he said what he was going to do, and he did what he said he was going to do. Now, Biden did the same thing. But people, maybe there's, politicians always say stuff like that. But he's actually killing the oil line, and killing energy and this climate change. He's full steam ahead. But what we're hoping for is with the Trump endorsing these people that they're going to be American first, and that unlike 2016 when they said they're going to get rid of Obamacare, and then when they got power, Trump says, "Okay, give me the bill so we can get rid of Obamacare." And say, "Oh, well, we were just joking about that." Mm-hmm. Hopefully, when they say that they're going to stop the 85,000 IRS being hired, and they're going to not fund some of the stuff. Hopefully, the people that he endorsed will say what they mean and mean what they say, and not be like the old rhinos and the upper echelons of the Republican Party where they're Republican in name only, but nothing is behind that. They just go along to get along.
One thing also that I've noticed is this whole Republican versus Democrat, this whole thing, conservative versus liberal. And what needs to be understood is classical liberalism and today's conservatism are pretty much the same thing. It's the far left agenda of socialism and communism that has definitely taken root, and that's why you have groups like the Squad that attempt to move that bar further left and further left until our morals are indeed taken from us. That's what makes it.
Republicans stop reaching across the aisle and going further left and left.
Right.
If you're gonna reach across the aisle, grab them by a rope and pull them right or center or right. Stop going far to the left and giving them everything they want, and then we get nothing in return. And when Trump got in the first time, they brought this big omnibus bill, and he says, I don't like it, but I'm excited. This time, I hope Trump says, no, I'm not going to sign this big omnibus bill that's going to fund these 85,000 IRS people. No, I'm not going to do this. Go back and cut all that stuff out. Because it's something like Washington is the biggest hirer of people in the United. They have a whole country in some of these third world countries or European countries. They're like a country within the federal government hires more people than some countries have people. That has to be reduced.
It is interesting. You're absolutely right. I liken this to putting chocolate milk in the water fountains. If you want to be a good student council president, you want to promise chocolate milk in the water fountains. That sounds great. It sounds wonderful. But all kinds of agencies then have to be set up. You have to have holding tanks. You have to have temperature controls on the holding tanks. You have to have regulations to make sure that there's good chocolate milk going into those holding tanks. And then you've got to have the supply chains to bring the chocolate milk and then pretty soon you've got a many-headed monster. And that's what happens with anything. And that's we, the people, have to be involved. We cannot just sit there on the sidelines and expect for our government to govern itself smoothly, because government in and of itself does not have the power to do that kind of thing. We have to be involved, or else
we the people
doesn't. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
We the people. Otherwise, our government does not exist and does not exist to serve for the people, and eventually there will be a decline. It's the second law of thermodynamics, is the law of entropy. And so therefore, without something to kind of slow that, as it were, it's just going to take place at a faster rate, especially in the political arena. Okay. Just my opinion. I could be wrong.
Yeah. Now, on a lighter note, we were supposed to be covering Mrs. Trump lingerie that the FBI got so interested in, and could you imagine that they went into Michelle Obama's lingerie boutique? Once you've seen that, it's probably something that you shouldn't see. Now, Melania Trump, on the other hand, being an ex-model and all that kind of stuff, now that maybe that's the reason they say, okay, guys. Most of you guys are probably still virgins. So we're going to take you where no man has gone. Well, let's say, no, it won't be like Star Trek, like going a 5-year mission to go where no man has gone before. Well, at least, one man, Trump is in there. So you say, okay, guys.
They were looking for the codes inside of her wardrobe.
Yes, and the nuclear codes. Maybe it was in the I don't know if her measurements, I don't know if it was 36, 24 or 36. I don't know, her measurements or whatever, but maybe they were looking for the nuclear code in the bra size and the lingerie size,
no,
whatever.
Never know.
Oh man, but interesting. FBI breaking in the new agents who are wet behind the ears to how law enforcement. And as I said yesterday, in the day, I mean, Edgar Hoover, he was a closet. Um,
He was a closet all kinds of things.
yeah,
J. Edgar
yeah,
was a very interesting fellow. You'll have to, very interesting individual. You'll have
yeah,
to check out
yeah,
some of the history behind
yeah.
what he.
And,
Wow. Huh.
and he loved bugging people and listening to conversations or listening to sexual things going on between other people. And this is a guy who was the head of the FBI, J. Edgar Hoover. Look it up. No, I'm not lying to you. He was quite a case. And you think that from that time they would have said, let's clean this thing up a little bit. We let this nut get in there. Let's not let no more nuts. But it just seemed like it's been a festering hold for nut jobs to get in who abuse their power.
Yeah.
So like, so from
Well,
Comey to these other guys.
it is interesting that the alphabet agencies that we have encouraged us strongly not even to criticize that kind of thing. People, heavy hitters, have been encouraged to go ahead and leave off and back away from that particular. And that's why I mention it, because it's fascinating that within a free country, we're being encouraged not to be free. Hey, shh, be quiet, guys. And
Yeah.
I don't understand it. It does not make sense to me, and it never will, why we are, as a free people, willingly, happily giving away our freedoms. Why are we doing that?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and speaking of giveaway freedoms, speaking of that, Chinese Americans back in the 40s, when Pearl Harbor happened, they well, Americans, we were very mistrusting, and even though you were Japanese American and you were here, legally and so forth, they decided to put them in internment camps. And Mrs. Sulu of Star Trek, he was one of those people that, as a kid, he was put in an internment camp, and later on became very successful in his acting field and so forth. But it was just a mistake that America, and then we had something in downtown Denver where I guess a riot broke out, and this, it happened in 1921 with Black Wall Street, when I guess the jealous white community got mad at this one community, Black community, that was thriving and very successful, and then they got a reason to say that this Black guy had looked at this white lady in the elevator or whatever, and then they went out and just started burning the town up, killing about 300 people within this community, and it was in Oklahoma. But in Denver, I guess during the Pearl Harbor days, they, of course, the mob went down to Chinatown, which is in downtown Louisville, which I didn't even know that was Chinatown or any town. I just thought, Arnold Schwarzenegger bought up a bunch of that place, and then he refurbished it. But I didn't really know the history of that area. I know it was Skid Row for a while, and then he took over, and then it became this booming Lodo party, come from all parts of Colorado downtown, and I didn't know this history of these people getting some of them getting lynched, and the Chinatown, as they knew it, was destroyed. And so they had some people there that their mothers and brothers and fathers and stuff like that remember those times. And so Hancock was down there, and it took a year. And I put a link for the video. Oh man, I should have put that in the description. But oh well. But if you want the link, info at intervisionfm.com, info at intervisionfm.com. And so it took a year to negotiate this plaque. and it was on one of the buildings on, I don't know if it was on Market Street, 20th and Market Street, or somewhere near there, that says, "No Chinese allowed."
Wow.
Which, because we can't see it, we didn't see it. I mean, I've been down there many times, and I probably passed the building. Well, we have passed the building many times, but we didn't know
Sure.
that plaque was up. And I'm thinking, like, why couldn't somebody in the 70s, 80s, or 90s just go up and, just get one of those nail remover, just get the plaque off, and then if the owner put the plaque back up, then that says something about that owner. So why did it have to just be this big ceremonial thing? And they use that word equitable, and all these buzzwords that these liberals and Democrats love to use. And they made a big ceremony out of it, that they took down the plaque, and the owner, he was trying to get back, so he could be a part of it, but because of what's going on in America with airlines being delayed, he didn't make it back. And so it was just a part of a history of Colorado, and I didn't know, and I bet that you didn't know either, because it's one of those visual things.
One thing that is interesting is exactly that. In fact, division makes it so that it gets difficult. You get people get mixed up. I think we're actually talking about the Japanese instead of the Chinese.
Japanese. Yeah, yes.
But it doesn't really matter. Division is doing what it's designed to do, and that's to divide. And that is one of the enemy's tactics. And we all need to realize and understand that we are fighting against this singular principle and power that does not want for humanity to succeed. And so in any way that we can remain divided, this people against this other people over here, and this people, and the history, as long as the history will be cloudy, it's hard to really unite the people and say, look, this happened in the past. Let's never forget it, and let's change it for the future. If we can just change how history was. So if there's this plaque and it keeps getting taken down, no Japanese allowed, or whatever like this, that ends up propagating a certain thing. And that's why there is a stalwart group of individuals, Republican, Democrat, doesn't matter, but we stand for our history. We stand for our moral structure. We stand for America. And we want for everything, good and bad, to be preserved. And otherwise, the snake starts eating its own tail, and we decide what gets preserved. Well, 20 years down the line, what if our group isn't in power anymore and there's another group in power? Then they decide. And that's why there has to be this constitution. That's why there has to be limits upon our federal government. That's why it's so imperatively important to get involved at the local, state, and federal levels, so that we know what's going on in all levels of our government, so that we know how we can best be governed, so that we know what we're consenting to, and on and on and on. Sorry, John.
Yeah. Now let's talk about Governor O'Rourke and what he's doing, which I love what he's doing down in Texas.
Okay.
He's putting busloads of thousands of people and saying, since you're a sanctuary city, Washington, since you're a sanctuary city, New York, and I hope maybe, to these places where Obama bought his big property and all that kind of stuff, these rich areas too, that they will say, okay, federal government, you have the states doing all this, taking care of all these illegals. Let's send them to you guys, since you want to be such a sanctuary. Of course, we love immigrants, but we want legal immigrants. And like my wife, I'm so proud of her. She studied and took the steps, and then March 5th, she became a United States citizen. And instead of taking from the United States of America, she is a plus to the United States of America, like we want every immigrant to be when they come into the country.
Well, absolutely.
Right.
moral structure is addressed. Do you love our country? The meritocracy is addressed. Can you offer skills and techniques that are necessary that'll benefit yourself and in turn also benefit our country? These kinds of things any citizen of this United States of America bring to them when they come as an immigrant. Instead of if they decide to come here illegally, perhaps those things that make America unique and great, and this kind of thing are not as addressed.
Yeah, and you see, and I guess it's a bunch of signs in New York saying help one and help one. If you just stop paying people to sit at home on their butts and give them benefits to stay at home, you'll have these jobs filled. But okay, so maybe a lot of these illegals will fill this position, work under the table, get paid less. So then that cuts into the economy. And so people, when they do get off their tufts and stop getting the free ride, when they do go back, now the boss says, well, we were paying this other guy this price. And we sort of like that. So you're out, he's in, or she's in, or whatever. And my battery is running low. So if we get cut off, hey, we want you to subscribe to the show and share the show because it helps the algorithms and donate to Intervision through paypal.me/Intervision Denver. That's paypal.me/Intervision Denver. But anyway, I like what Governor O'Rourke is doing. And I love that Bowser and Eric, they're complaining about all these immigrants because we're a sanctuary city, but we can't handle it. We want the federal government to help us. The federal government should never be helping in this problem.
Interesting viewpoints, and these viewpoints have to be protected, have to be preserved. And looks like that's it for today's show. So everybody have a great long weekend, and God willing, on Monday, Johnny will run that short video of his trip to Moscow and this kind of thing. God be with everybody. God bless. And thanks to our sponsors, Richard Damiano, Littleton Eye Clinic, Denver Foundation, Wells Fargo Foundation, as well as a couple of others. I do apologize. I'll have that list handy. But thank you also to our new sponsors. Hit us up at intervisionfm.com. If you want to become a sponsor, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks, folks. God bless.